What is up, everybody? Curtis here, and welcome back to Digibit Tech. Now, if you've been around the channel for a while, you know I love my retro video games. But sadly, it's getting harder and harder to find consoles that work as well as accessories that work. But luckily, the retro gaming enthusiasts over at Old Skool heard our cries for help and came out with a few products. Today, we are going to be taking a look at one of these products. This is the Old Skool Classiq N NES console. And yes, that is Old Skool spelt with a K instead of a C, because spelling C words with K's is awesome. But anyway, so what's inside the magic box? So right off the bat, you're greeted with a very aesthetically pleasing clamshell plastic piece which holds all the goodies inside. You're greeted with your USB power adapter as well as power cable, a set of AV cables, 2 controllers, that's right, not just one included with this package, but 2, and then the console itself as well as a user's guide showing you different information about how to hook the system up and precautions to take while using it. Be sure to read those, folks. Okay, so some initial thoughts as I unboxed everything and began to use it. These AV cables are not the best. They're very thin metal. They're not made very sturdy. They actually don't retain very well inside of the TV and the console itself. It's very easy to pull these out, so just be careful if you're like dusting your console and gaming setup. Make sure you don't bump one of these loose. Next up, which is probably my favorite part of the whole package, are the 2 included controllers here. So you have your standard up, down, left, right, start, select, B and A buttons, but they have done something very nice. If you've ever played an Old Skool NES console, you know that the controllers are rectangular. These have rounded edges on the top, which is so nice to rest your fingers on during long gaming sessions. Those old controllers, I always ended up with a cramp in my fingers. But after playing this for hours, I can confirm this is super comfy. Also, it uses a standard NES plug-in to plug into the console, so you could actually use your old NES controllers with this package. Onto the face of the controller. They paid homage to the classic controller by having a gray shell as well as a black faceplate on here. They displayed the Classiq N logo very nicely on here. And these controllers they look so nice, they feel nice in your hands, they don't feel cheap and plasticky. I mean, you can really crank on these things and I don't have any creak out of this. Now, to the actual reason you would buy this, the console itself. On the front, you're greeted with a power and reset button, both of which click very nicely when used. There are also 2 controller ports on here with dimples to signify player 1 and player 2. Moving to the back of the console, you have your USB power as well as your AV outputs. Now, there is no HDMI output on this. There is an HD model offered of this console, which does include HDMI out as well as selectable aspect ratio switch to be able to take you from that 4:3 to 16:9. Now, one thing I noticed with this, be very careful when plugging stuff into these ports. These actually move back and forth a good bit when you go to plug these cables in. After a while, that will cause the solder connection inside to fatigue and possibly break. So be careful. If you use this for travel, you might want to just keep in mind that that may not last a very long time. On the bottom, it has nice rubber feet to keep your console from sliding around while plugging and unplugging different components. And then, the good stuff, the top of the console. You have your NES cartridge port. Now, one thing I noticed with this port. When the cartridge is installed, it has a very large amount of movement back and forth inside of that slot. It's not a very form fit going in here, so be careful, especially when you go to remove it from these super tight pins that are inside. I would highly recommend you have this on a steady surface, put one hand on the top and pull the cartridge straight out. Don't do any side to side movement. You can actually bend those pins inside. After a while, they'll loosen up a little bit and it won't be as bad, but especially those first couple initial installs, whoo, I had to really strain to get that cartridge out. Now, I did get a chance to play with this console for a good long while, actually, and I can safely say that it was rock solid. I don't have a lot of NES titles to really test stuff out. They do claim this is compatible with homebrew games. However, I cannot confirm if it is compatible with Famicom games. I only have the North American versions of the games. But I did get to play a lot, and probably the title I played the most is Destination Earthstar. Now, this is kind of a space shooter and it's a lot of fun, and I played this for a good long while and my hands didn't cramp, the console didn't crap out, and actually the picture quality and color looked phenomenal. There wasn't any weird stretching or pulling or any kind of crazy aspect ratio. It just went on my HD TV and played like it was made to, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Also, I saved this little tidbit of information till the very end of this video. I picked this console up at my local game store for $14.99. Like, most of the titles on this platform cost more than $14. Also, this system has a warranty. A lot of the stuff that you buy used will not have a warranty, so if it craps out on you in 30 days, well, more than likely there's nothing that can be done. You just have a potato. Whereas this is backed by a well-known, reputable company. I've bought quite a few items from Old Skool and all of it's been great. So I would highly recommend this system. Just like I said, be mindful of the plugins on the back of the console. If you just kind of plug it in and it's just going to sit where it's at, then you've got nothing to worry about. But if you're traveling with this system or anything like that, eventually it could cause a problem. Also, be careful with pulling that cartridge out. So, I'm super happy with my purchase, and I hope to look at some more stuff from Old Skool in the future. Again, this is bought with my own money. They didn't send this over here. They probably have no idea who I am or probably even care. But anyway, thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're at 70 subscribers. You guys are amazing. We're almost at that 1 year point too, so I would really like to do that giveaway I've been talking about for a while. So be sure to hit that sub button, turn on your notifications so you're always up to date with the latest Digibit Tech videos. Also, hit me up on social media. I will put the tag right here below. And be sure to stay tuned every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for our video podcast series called Player Tuesday. We're going to be kicking that off January 8th. You won't want to miss it. And I will see you all in the next video. See ya.